Okay, today we are simplifying radicals and roots. So the idea is that sometimes we have a square root of a number that we know exactly what it is, such as square root of 16. We know it's exactly 4. But today we're going to focus on what are we going to do when we have numbers that we don't know the exact root, such as what is the square root of 18? Well, that's not an exact number. So what we are going to do is find a process, learn a process. So we are going to get to an answer that is much simplified. We have our square root chart. In this chart, what you're going to find is all the square roots, the exact. So here we're going to start. We have square roots. Okay, we have a chart. The square root of 1 is 1, square root of 49 is 7, etc., etc. Well, the idea is that this is what we're going to use still. It's just that we're going to use it in a different manner. How? Well, it's very simple. Here we have, in your first example, determine if the following is going to be the square, a perfect square, yes or no. Well, that is very simple. Do we know the square root of 8? Well, we know that that is not going to be exact number. The square root of 15, that is not exact number. When we know that the square root of 56, yes, this is going to be a exact number, as well as in a 1 on 36. This is all that we need to do here in our first idea. Then, we're moving on to this. Take the square root of a number and determine if it's a perfect square or not, integer or decimal. So we know that the square root of 49, it's 7. We know that it is 7. Now when we have the square root of 10, we know this is going to be a decimal, okay? That is the first thing, understanding when it's going to be a square root exact number or it's just going to be a decimal. We look at 75, this is still a decimal. So the only thing that you need to do here, put it in the calculator and write the actual answer here. So in this case, if I put in my calculator exactly what I see, square root of 10, I know that the square root of 10 is 3.16. And I know that if I do exactly the same by 75, I know that the square root of 75, it's 8.66. Okay? Well, now, this is where our challenge is going to start, because in here what we need to do is figure out each one of these numbers. We know it's not going to be exact root, but we're going to try to change it into something that it has a square root, but it has to be a factor. So the idea is this. I have 75. 75 I'm going to change into two factors, two numbers that when I multiply, I get 75. Okay? But one of them, I'm going to try to get the square root of that number. I know that's going to be a number that is going to give me a complete square root. So this is what we need to know our square roots exactly. I know that 75 can be changed into, 75 can be changed into 25 times 3. Why is that an important thing? Because I know that 25 is actually a number that I can find the square root. So I move on to number 12. The number 12, can I separate it into two numbers that multiply? One of them has an exact square root. Well, the answer is yes, because I know that 4 times 3 equals 12. And 4, I know exactly what is the square root of 4. So this is the first step in what we're trying to do. And why is this the first step? Eventually, this is going to turn into this. We have the square root of 179. Well, I know that the square root of 69, it's 13. So that's an easy one, right? And then we have the square root of 8. Well, the thing with the square root of 8 is that that's not an exact number. But I know that that 8 can be changed into 4 times 2. And why is that important? Because if I do this, I know that this changes into the square root of 4 times the square root of 2. And if I do that, I know what is this. This is an exact number. The square root of 4 is 2. So all that I have left is 2 square root of 2. This is my simplified answer. Why? Because I took some part of the number inside of my square root and I solved at least a part of a number. Now I have 324. This is a bigger number, is going to present a challenge. So what you can do is start just dividing by the factors. You can divide by 16, you can divide by 25, etc., etc. So the idea is that you get to use what numbers are appropriate for you to do this. So in this case, I know that the square root of 324 is 18. You can just put it in your calculator and you'll find that, okay? Now, the square root of 27. The square root of 27, it is obviously not a straight number. This is going to be something a little more difficult. So, what you are going to do in this case is that we're going to talk about what are the factors of 27. Well, I know that 27, I get it by multiplying 9 times 3. So I'm looking now for the square root of 9 times 3. So this is going to be the square root of 9 times the square root of 3. And why is this, again, something so important? Because I know the square root of 9. The square root of 9 is 3. Now, do we know the square root of 3? No. So I'm going to leave it next to it. So this is your answer, 3 square root of 3.